Hi
Hello,
guys.
hello.
I hope we're live. Yeah, we're live. Okay.
Yep.
I never know when it's really live or not. Anyways, welcome to our week 3 of our soul healing journal or soul healing journey. Week number 3, we're talking about facing your fears lovingly. Oh, and by the way, again, if you would like to follow along during our soul healing journey with this whole soul healing journal, I will be posting the link to get your own copy in the comment section. Feel free to get your copy if you feel called to. But yeah, so this week we're talking about facing your fears lovingly, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. And it's very interesting how the timing of everything. I was telling Jonathan like, oh, it's so interesting that when I want to talk about certain topic, I will actually go through that topic in my own life experience at the same time so I can talk about it. Because honestly, just this past week, there were a series of events that happened that trigger and brought up a lot of fears for me. A lot of fears. And interesting because I've been doing inner work, self development work, spiritual work, healing work on myself for the past decade. And it's almost like, and prior to this week, I have been internally asking for the divine and the universe for, hey, I want to reach to the next level of Bridget. I want to be able to be completely detached to what I think I want and allow the universe to work through me, co-create with me and flow through me. And I want to set the intention that I become the flow of the universe instead of, just this part of me that think what I want is the best for myself or for the world. And so, I'm thinking back that be careful what you ask for, right? Because the universe will be like, great, you're ready for it. Here's some of the things that you need to work through in order to reach the next level of Bridget. And so literally this past week has been the most intensified, magnified, fearful experience for me, with the series of events that happened since Sunday night to Monday. And every day I was just been working on myself. I've just been, holding space for myself. And it's so interesting that today, the end of this week, Friday, we're talking about facing your fears lovingly. And I was kind of going through my questions in this soul healing journal because originally I was just going to follow along with what I mentioned in the book. um, but I realized in the book it's kind of following along with the previous 2 weeks where we discover what is it that you truly want and what were some of the buts that you had internally about moving forward with your desires. And so the third week I wanted to guide people to look at the fears from the buts. And so it's kind of what do you call it? It's kind of like a series. But as I went through my own fears this week, I kind of want to broaden the perspective a little bit. That if you do get the soul healing journal, um, hear me out a little bit. Don't just limit yourself with what I wrote in the book because when I wrote it, it was kind of following the series of what was flowing to me at the time. But now going through all the fears I've been going through lately, I realize what I'm about to share with you can be applied to any fears at any given time that you are experiencing. So
I'm gonna just say from a third party
yeah,
perspective, I think it still is in line with
yeah,
everything. You
yeah,
have
that's
to
true.
face your fears because what you wanted, this is the piece. So what happens is you want something, right? Whether it's a great relationship or the business that you want or to make a certain amount of money or to buy a house or whatever it is, that dream that you have. And there's going to be, the closer you get to it,
That's true.
the
That's
bigger
true.
the fears you have to face. And what Bridget went through, and I don't know if you're going to share what you went through, but the fears are going to show up because those are things you get to face and process through and dissolve the fear so that you can get to your dreams, whatever that dream may be. Oh, cool. Hey, Yvonne. Good to see you.
Hi, Yvonne.
So I don't know what you want to go through. If you want to share, or if you
I'll
want to
share
just
some of it because there was just so many things. I don't want to get in too much details about what happened because I will be honest, I am personally still processing through everything that just happened this past week. But I will say this. Um, I came from, I'll give you a backstory a little bit. I came from a family that was very, very, very abusive and very, very dysfunctional. So it was my uncle and both my uncle and my dad who, during my childhood, gave me the experience where it created a lot of feelings of unsafety, insecurity, a lot of fears, a lot of unknown, but shock unknown. I never knew when I was gonna get hit. I could just be sitting there and then a slap in the face where somebody will just come behind me and yell at me and push me onto the ground. I would not be doing anything wrong and I just get beat up for it. And so that was kind of the family I came from. Also, I was sexually molested by my own uncle at a very, very young age. And so there were a lot of traumas that I had to work through for as long as I've been doing spiritual coaching work. I do a lot of inner work on myself. So I sort of feel like, oh, I worked through a lot, which I have. And there's always the next layer, which is kind of annoying. But after you go through this layer, like, okay, I feel so good, it was worth it. It's like working out, you know. But anyway, so this past week, so years before, about 4 years ago, my relationship with my dad had always been kind of up and down. And so I've always carried this guilt that I wasn't a good enough daughter because I came to America and my dad stayed in Taiwan. And because of the way that he is, usually is very cynical, very, very mentally, verbally abusive. A lot of time when I talk to him, in my own experience and my perspective is that I gave my power away, and whenever I talk to him, there's a little girl that just feels like I can only shut up. I can't say anything. Anything that I say will be wrong, and I will be yelled at for, which, from my past experience, it's happened multiple times. So whenever I talk to my dad, it's always me listening, and I can never talk back, and I could never share about what was going on with my life. The moment that I share, I get yelled at for whatever reason. Okay. And so finally, about 4 years ago, he did and said something that really, really crossed the boundary for me. And to that point, I've realized, holy shit, I've been carrying a guilt, a response. I've been carrying him as my responsibility of how he's been living his life, which had absolutely nothing to do with me. That 4 years ago, that he did and say something made me realize that it is time for me to let go of him as my responsibility of whatever he was going through, the suffering he was going through, that had anything to do with me, because he is his own grown man. But then he put a lot of suffering, his suffering, onto me. This is the very gist of it. There's a lot of stories behind it, but I don't want to go into too much detail in it. So 4 years ago was the first time in a long time that I finally learned to set healthy boundary with my dad. And it just was time for me. And interesting enough, I decided that I did not want this energy in my life anymore, and I can no longer take this on anymore. So that was the time where I go, I can't, no, I'm setting my boundary and I'm not talking to him for a while. And interesting enough, 10 days after I realized, 10 days after that incident, I found out I was pregnant with Nyla. And so, especially after that I was pregnant, I want to make sure, my energy protected, that I was happy, I was at peace. So I actually didn't talk to him for the past 4 years. And so just this past Sunday, Monday, I received a phone call from my relative in Taiwan saying that he's basically on his last days. And this experience triggered a lot of fear, guilt, and shame, and also from the conversation that I had with the relative that I hadn't talked to for years. And the experience that I had was she just wanted something from me that wasn't supposed to be me providing what she was asking for. And so there was just a lot of, again, my perception, I perceived that there was a lot of responsibilities that was put onto me when it had absolutely nothing to do with me. And so through this whole process, it triggered a lot of shame and guilt and chaos and confusion of, holy shit, my gut and body is telling me I don't know, this is not supposed to be my responsibility, but my logical mind, or the mind that has been conditioned and to believe that, hey, that's your dad, that's your elderly, family members, that's a kind of authority figure. And being raised in the Asian culture, you're not supposed to talk back, you're not supposed to speak up for yourself, you're supposed to just listen to obey. And so throughout this whole experience, I've noticed there's a part of me that is just like a little girl that's like, okay, whatever you say, I don't know what to do. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. Is this right or wrong? I know. I was so scared. But also I've noticed there's another part of me that is evolved and mature enough to go, that's very interesting. I noticed there's a little girl in me that is so scared and doesn't know what to do. And then there's another part of me that is my ego, my condition, my cultural condition, and say, no, do the right thing. He's your dad, right? Like, he's dying, you're supposed to do this, and that. And you're supposed to take care of the blah, blah, blah. And so there's just so much emotion and fears that I had to face and go through and work through. And number one thing that was most helpful, which I'm very, very grateful and very, very, very lucky, is that Jonathan was there the whole entire time, supporting me through all of this, holding the space for me, and was able to let me voice out what I was really feeling and guide me through this whole process. And so it's just my experience, because this is so raw and still so new and literally just out of the oven, like right now, this fear emotion. So I'm saying it as I'm experiencing it. When you are going through fear, if you have someone that you trust, you have someone that you feel completely, you can feel open with, that your gut tells you, it's okay sometimes that we need people around us to hold a space for us. But sometimes you feel like you want to be alone, or that at the moment you just don't feel like there's someone that could hold a space for you, then know that you have the power to hold a space for yourself. There were times when Jonathan was able to be there for me, but there were times where I had to face those fears and emotions myself. And as much as those emotions were very, very strong and intense, I kept telling myself, I'm right here with you, and it's okay to feel all you feel. Give yourself credit to know that this fear that you're going through may feel very real and it's legit. You have reason feeling what you feel, and it's okay. The thing is, I've also noticed, I have an observer seeing myself from a complete higher perspective, and I also have a part of myself that's in all these chaos, and I notice both. When I was in the fear mode, I've noticed there's parts of me that wants to do things right there, solve it, change it. Like, what do I do? What do I do? I wanted to find solutions like right there, because I did not want to feel the fear that I was feeling. No one can tell you what to do. No one can tell you what is right or wrong for whatever choice that you make. But if anything, if this message can serve you somehow, allow this message to serve you as an energetic, divine, unconditional love, just loving you right now, holding you and hugging you and say, it's okay. I know you're panicking. I know you're scared. I know you don't know what to do at this moment. I know, and it's okay. You don't have to fix anything right now. and it's okay. You don't have to figure everything out right now, and it's okay. And even if you don't figure everything out right now, I still love you anyways. And I'm so fucking proud of myself that I was able to do that for me. And if you can't yet find that you that's doing this for you, that can do this for you, allow this video to serve you as a reminder, as love, as embracing us, as a hug, and saying it's okay, you don't have to figure everything out now. In fact, when you let go, maybe things will figure out on its own. And recently, one of the things that's been very, very helpful, and I highly recommend this book, which I have not read yet, but Jonathan has been reading this book, and it's been helping the both of us tremendously, like me specifically, tremendously during this period of time. It's called The
Surrender Experiment.
The Surrender.
By Michael A. Singer. Yeah, it's a really good book. It's very interesting, and it's something actually new for me. Like, I know about surrendering and letting go to a certain point, and this one like really took me to the next, I guess, level, for lack of a better word. But it's like, oh, I've been letting go. I've been working on myself. I know how this happens, and there was a part of me that was still like, right, because I came from the manifestation world, the law of attraction, like what we think about, what you focus on, that's what you're gonna get. And that's us being in control still. That's still the ego wanting to be in control of how we want it, because we think, oh, I know this is what I want. But how do you know that the universe or God has something even bigger for you, right? So letting go, that for me was really, really challenging, because there was fear there of, wait, if I let go of what I want, then what if I don't get what I want then? What if I get something worse? And it's about really surrendering and trusting myself, my higher self, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, that there's something beyond what I can even imagine. And once we started doing this, right, like her fears showed up more intensely for her. I'm just kind of the witness and helping her process through it, but also for me in my own sense. But once we've kind of gone through this, it's, things have been starting to look up. We're not, clients are coming, more people are talking to us, and it's really interesting how that works, because we start detaching from things. We start like, hey, it's okay, we just surrender to the outcome. I don't know what's gonna happen, right? It's kind of like, for me, like dating, right? Like when you're looking, you're like, oh God, my time's running out, I'm looking for a partner. If I want to have a family by the time I'm this age, oh, I'm already, 29 and 30, and I don't know, right? Like, there's that panic and there's that fear. What if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't happen? But when you stop and you're not looking and you just focus on you and loving yourself and being the best version of you, it naturally, happens. That's how we met. We weren't looking at all. And
I was.
I wasn't.
Not actively looking, but I definitely was open to it.
I was like, whatever, like I was just living life and enjoying, being me. And we met, and it happens that way though, right? Just in general, like when you're not looking, things tend to come to you.
When you detach, the power
right.
power of surrendering and detaching. And I'm not saying this is easy, and it can be though. With practice, it can be, because you become more used to it. But if you haven't allowed yourself to do this enough, in the beginning you may feel like, fuck, what the hell am I doing? But even through that, surrender, fuck what I'm doing. Even that, surrender it. I think through this whole process, I'm not saying that I understand the whole entire definition of what surrendering means. And you may have your own definition of it, but based on my own experience just this past week of practicing surrendering, even through the time of intensified fears, is that whenever a trigger show up, whenever my relatives say something or trying to throw something at me again, I notice a part of me that's trying to resist it and go, fuck, I need to either find solution or basically fight, flight, or freeze, right?
Yeah.
I had all three. I was trying to fight it, and I was trying to avoid it, and I was like, at times I'm like, fuck, am I supposed to do now? And I went through all three at the same time. I go, okay. I remember the power of surrendering. Let me just do the best that I can to surrender. And I just take deep breaths and I release. And I literally, I don't know if you ever played the trust game where you kind of just fall and like allow someone else behind you to kind of catch you. That's exactly what I was doing energetically, mentally, to the universe. I let myself fall. And this may sound very scary to a lot of people, but there's so much power in this if you allow yourself to go through this power of surrendering. Is when I was doing the best that I could to surrender, is I also surrender myself to infinite possibilities, meaning that I allow and be willing for whatever needs to come through, because I know what I think I want isn't always the highest and best. So if I surrender and I know universe always got my back, then if I just surrender, everything happens will happen for the highest good of all. But when we try to control, when we try to fix something, be in control, thinking we know all the solution, do everything that we could to fix or change something, sometimes it's necessary, sometimes. But where is it coming from? Or allow yourself to surrender first and then flow. I don't know, this is just my own process. I surrender, I let go. And it doesn't mean that I don't go through fears. I still do, and I'm still processing through it. Every day, there's another layer. Every day, there's another layer. And I just sit there and I listen. I just sit there and be with those feelings. I listen to the fears of what's trying to tell me I am scared, I don't know what to do, and I continue to hold a space and say, I'm right here. And it's okay. What can I do for you? What can I do for you, my fear? Here's the thing. People go through fear and they do not ask questions with their fears. They go through fear and they go, let me find a solution. Let me just ignore this, or let me cover it up with alcohol, drugs, and TVs and food and work or sex. And then it continued to show up and becomes anxiety. And people are like, oh, fuck, I'm always so nervous. I'm also, why? The anxiety is accumulation of fears that you don't allow yourself to face and understand and love with compassion. Even today, this morning before this call, I really was sitting because I felt the anxiety, so much anxiety in my body. And at first, for the probably first 10 to 20 minutes, I tried to listen and I couldn't hear anything. I was just panicking. But I sat with it anyways. I go, okay, let me listen again. Let me listen again. Let me try it again. Let me listen again. And finally, all right, let me just tune in even more gently. Fears or whatever this feeling is, what would you like to tell me? And it's very interesting because I've been doing this kind of work for the past decade, literally consistently every day, well, at least 4 to 5, 6 days a week. That's pretty consistent. At least every week for the past decade. And majority of my time of working on myself has to do with working my inner child that, went through a lot of trauma in my childhood. But interesting, today, and even in the past few days too, I've been working on the inner child of me that, that felt fearful, I felt scared, I felt unsafe. I was loving my inner child. But today I still felt that panicking. I go, what's going on? And I heard my fear, myself said, you've been focusing so much on your inner child that you forgot about me. The me that just went through this since Monday. I was going through all these anger and fears and shock and chaos and confusion. I didn't know what to do. And I forgot to also love the current self. This past self that happened in the past few days. And so that's exactly what I was doing. I said, I'm so sorry I forgot about you. I'm so sorry that I thought it was just my inner child that was wounded. I'm so sorry that the you right now also needs me here. What can I do for you? And all she wanted was to cry and vent. And I just allow her to feel scared. And I just continue to hold the space and say, I'm right here. It's okay to feel what you feel. And that's all your fears need. That's all your fears need. Because I can tell why. Because after that, I feel a lot lighter. Not completely done yet. I still feel something. But I know maybe there's another layer that I can love. There's another layer that I can go in and listen to. When was the last time you truly and fully and completely listened to yourself, your anger, your fears, your sadness without judgment, without having to fix him or her? Listening isn't trying to find solution. Listening is being there. No matter what you feel, I'm right here. You want to feel angry? I'm right here with you. Are you scared and sad? I'm right here with you. I'm not trying to give you solution. I'm just being here with you, holding your hands. I'm right here. You're not alone. And sometimes, a lot of times actually, that's more than enough. That's all your inner self ever needed, truly.
Okay, cool. So do you
So,
want to go into the journal?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Bridget said is very important, is just with any emotion, right? Fears, especially, but it's just listening and acknowledging that they're there. Because typically, when you feel fear or anything really, there's gonna be a thought like, okay, how do I stop feeling this fear, right? Oh, I shouldn't feel this way. Oh, I don't like this feeling, so I shouldn't feel this way, so I should do something to resolve it. And really all it needs is like, whoa, no judgment. Like Bridget said, I'm here. What does that fear want to say? Where is it coming from? Where is it in your body? These are all things that you can do to discover more about yourself and what's going on inside. So yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a quote right here and I want to share with you. Fear is the trickster that only has power over you when you believe it's bigger than you. And I want to put a reminder here. You are bigger than your fears. Okay? So, I want to share the questions for this week. Facing your fears, the number one question is, think back to your life and list some of the challenging situations you have overcome in your life, no matter how big or small. For example, overcoming a heartbreak up or losing a loved one, getting a job you didn't think was possible, etc. The reason why I want to ask this question, and I want you to reflect on it, is because when we have fears, we sort of give our powers away to fears and thinking like, oh, what if I can't do anything about this? Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I want you to reflect onto this as a reminder for yourself. Dude, look at this past experiences. You are going through fear and look what happened. You came through it. You're alive. You're okay. You actually learned something from it. A lot of amazing things came out of it. But you will only realize it when you allow yourself to reflect on it. That's why when facing your fears, number one, to realize, oh yeah, fear has always been there, but look at me. I'm still okay. And I went through it and I'm bigger than fear. And things always worked out. For some reason, it just did. And would it be possible that it still is going to work out? Okay, that's number one question. Number two, well, this is a series of questions, but now take some time to follow these next three steps to really take inventory of your dreams, desires, and the fears and doubts that may be preventing you from achieving them sooner. And in step number four, I will share a powerful method to transform those fears into freedom and those dreams into reality. Okay, so step number one from this question is, think about your desires and dreams and notice both the excitement and fears that you feel in your body and mind. Okay, notice both.
So actually, to make it easier, let's close your eyes, take a deep breath, and this is the part of like, visualization, and imagine what it is that you want in your life, and just notice everything in your body, right? Like, be as clear as you can on what you want, whether it's a business that you want to make or a relationship you want to be in, and just imagine like you already have it, and notice if you are feeling any doubts or fears, or does it feel good, or is it happy? Like, notice everything within yourself and within your body. And also notice if you don't feel anything at all. You're like, fuck, I can't even, I think I want this, but I can't see it, right? And that's okay too. Just notice that, because um, that just might be an indicator that, there's something else to look at.
And when you do this part of the exercise, be curious about it instead of judging it. Learn to be curious, like, oh, that's interesting. This is showing up. Oh, I wonder where this is coming from. Oh, I didn't even know that I had this, feelings or thoughts in my mind. Be curious about it, because our tendency is trying to judge it, trying to fix it, trying to change it before we even give it ourselves a chance to understand it. So in this step, number one step is just being an observer. And what does being an observer mean? Is like, you are the camera. Camera doesn't, you pretend you are the camera, literally watching what's going on. And camera does not say, oh, no, you're not supposed to feel that way. Oh, no, that's a negative thought. Don't think that. No, camera does not say that, okay? So imagine you're a camera just watching, observing, okay? Once you watch and observe, I want you to write everything down. For instance, it could be observation. Oh, my heart is beating faster. I have a big grin on my face when I think about my dreams and desire. Or I feel this butterflies in my stomach. Or I hear a voice that says it will never happen in my mind, right? Okay, just be an observer in this number one step of this question, okay? Number two step. I want you to list out at least 3 to 5 reasons why this dream and desires make you happy, okay? That's pretty self-explanatory, because here's the thing. The reason the reason why I kind of want to put this in there too, I've heard that sometimes nervousness and excitement can feel very similar. So sometimes you may perceive what you're feeling as fear and anxiety or nervousness, but maybe you're also feeling the excitement and the happiness about it. But if our brain is, if we're so used to feeling anxiety and nervousness, we will only associate that feeling to what we know. But if you notice, hey, the same feeling could be excitement, and you tell your brain, or your brain is like, oh, that's also excitement, cool. At least now it's in your mind dictionary. This feeling can also be excitement. So I want you to notice that it's not just fear that will be showing up. Excitement could also show up too, okay? Number 3 step. Then make another list of what fears or doubts you have about making this dream into reality. Okay, so you probably would have a longer list on this one, where there's more fears and doubts than excitement. But I wanted to list everything out, any doubt that you notice, any fears that you notice, and I also invite you to go a little bit deeper than the surface level. I'm going to give you an example, okay? So, for instance, on the surface level, you may have a fear of, I don't want to social with people because, I have this social anxiety. Oh, I have fear of social anxiety. That's one layer of fear. Now, I want you to go deeper and ask yourself questions about, okay, what is this social anxiety fear is about? What am I really scared of when I'm in a crowd? Okay. And some answers might come out as like, well, I don't know what to say. I may be awkward. I don't know what to talk about. And allow yourself to go even deeper and go, what if they don't like me? What if what I say is not funny enough? What if they realize I'm not the person that they think I am? What if they, all these fears that allow yourself to go deeper. The closer you are to getting to the truth of your fear, the better it is for you to face it and give it love. So allow yourself to really take the time to dig deeper into the fear. And just a reminder here For some of you, doing this exercise may not feel comfortable at all. And know that it's okay and it's normal. Okay. If you experience that, it's okay and it's normal. And continue to go, oh, I noticed that I have that fear, and I love you and I love you, and it's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much for going through this process with me. I know we haven't done this enough. That's why we feel what we feel. And whenever you're ready, let's do this again in the most gentle way possible. I just want to get to know you better. Speak to your fear. You might think I'm crazy, but it works. Okay? All right. Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Okay.
Perfect.
So the very last step, which is very powerful tool that you can apply onto anything and everything. Okay? Now, okay, the step number 4. Now I want you to look at the fear list, and I want you to turn each of those fears or doubts into what I call the soul questions. Turn to the next page to see what soul questions are. Since you guys, well, some of you have the book, some of you don't. If you don't, I'll tell you what soul questions are. Soul questions are actually inspired by our mentors, and one of the author that we were reading from, a mentor, Brian Ridgway, he asked about quantum questions, and there's another book called
Affirmations by Noah St. John. So anyways, the simple version of what soul questions are is a lot of people do affirmations, right? We were affirming, like, I am healthy, I am rich, I am happy, money comes to me easily and effortlessly, or whatever it is. Like, we have affirmations, this whole, in the kind of personal development world. And we've done affirmation. Well, I've done a lot of affirmations before, and I noticed that yes, sometimes it works depending on how I word the affirmation. If I feel really aligned with the affirmation, then I can repeat it and it works. But then there are some that just like feel like I'm lying to myself, and I'm just saying like I am this, but no, I don't believe that, right? So what affirmations, that's one of the books, or quantum questions, or what we call soul questions, it's simply shifting it from an affirmation of like a statement of like this is the truth to more of a question. A question, because a question opens the mind. A question searches for the answer. So instead of just saying like, oh hey, I am rich, right? I'm rich beyond my wildest dreams, and you're not, and you got like no money in the bank account, you can say, well, why is it that I am so wealthy? Why am I wealthy in my life now? And it's like, oh, wow, okay. Or why am I so rich in my life right now? Why am I abundant in these ways, right? And you look at, oh, instead of just saying, oh, I am so abundant and nothing, but you don't have any money coming in or whatever, but you say, hey, why am I so abundant? You can look, your mind starts to find like, oh, well, this comes in, I do have that. And abundance is, maybe you're really abundant in getting things you don't want, right? Like, wow, I'm really abundant in freaking getting late fees on my credit card, right? Like, or whatever it is. Like, oh yeah, I am abundant in that sense. But why am I abundant in ways that actually benefit me? And you start asking these type of questions, and they start to like, oh wow, like why is it true that I'm always taken care of? Why is it true that that the universe has my back? Right? Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
You can come up with them.
The thing is, we're constantly asking questions all the time anyways.
Yeah.
But a lot of those questions are not serving us. For instance, like the example that I gave you, social anxiety. What if they don't like me? What if they found out that I'm not as good enough as they think I am? What if blah 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 blah? What if I'm not good enough? What if I do everything and I'm still wrong? Whatever it is, okay? We're asking these questions all the freaking time, and if that's what's keep playing in the back of your head, and that's if you ask those questions, your brain constantly will start looking for answers without you knowing it or not. It just does. It looks for answers. So I invite you to look at your fear list and turn them into soul questions. Soul questions. Why do I call it soul questions? Because these are the questions that your soul would ask. What if you are good enough? Why am I so good enough? Why am I so welcome no matter where I go? Why am I just so at ease? Why do I trust myself so much? Why is it true that I can feel at ease with myself no matter where I am? Why is it true that it's so easy for me to see the beautiful things about myself? Why is it so easy for me to love me? Oh wow, why is it so easy for me to see how lovable I am? And what if I am loved? So I want you to start asking these questions, but you have to know what fears you have. Because when you notice, oh, these are the fears that I have, it's easier for you to turn them into soul questions. Okay? Oh, I'm not good enough. What if I'm enough? I'm scared other people will judge me. How can we turn that into soul questions?
I'm scared of what? I'm scared of.
People would judge me.
So, why is it true that I'm comfortable in my own skin, regardless of what people think?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Right? Like it's you start to, the more you do them, the more kind of creative and you can do them, but and you just repeat those questions, and you can start simple, like just, why is it true that I love myself so much and I'm so grateful for myself? And you don't even have to like consciously answer. You could be like, sit down, why am I so grateful for myself, and start writing all the things out. That helps, right, to get it going. But what happens is you don't even need to do that. You just repeat the question.
And your brain will automatically look for, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, why am I so loved? Oh, look at my boyfriend today told me this. And you start to notice the little things in your life that you didn't notice before.
Yeah.
That proves that you are loved, that you are enough.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. So
this is very powerful, by
this
the way,
is
guys.
huge if you guys really do it. And it's just, you just be consistent with it, because we're already doing it. Like we just said, we're already doing it, but it's usually in the form of, why am I not good enough? Or what if this thing doesn't work? What if this, this new business venture doesn't work? Or I can't do it, right? Or what if I can't do it? What if this bad thing happened, right? And those are the things that are already unconsciously happening over and over and over again. So now we're just saying, consciously switch those. What if it does work? What if this is the one thing that actually changes everything, that makes the difference? What if this is the one time that, right? You only need one good idea, right? A lot of entrepreneurs say you only need one good idea to work for you to become, super successful and a multi-millionaire. What if this is the one idea that works? Right? It's a different perspective. It shifts. And if you want, right? If you guys want, if you've watched this far, awesome. If you want to have, more help with this, because we understand doing it by yourself is challenging, feel free to PM us, send us a message, and we can talk about see if you want to work with us, because we're pretty good at what we do, and we'd love to be able to help kind of facilitate your transformation and your own soul healing journey. All right, I think that's probably it. You got anything else?
Well, if you know anybody that would benefit from what we share, feel free to invite them into the group.
Yeah, invite them to the group, and we'd be happy. And if you guys have questions, just pop them in, and or if there's like a topic you want us to talk about, go ahead and just leave it in the comments.
Cool.
Cool.
Oh yeah, and if you guys ever go through any of the questions and you want to share, we would love to hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to hear feedback. All right.
Okay, love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Loving yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.